Hey everyone, welcome back to my Pretty Little Liars rewatch series. Today we're diving into Season 1, Episode 5, Reality Bites Me. And wow, this episode really starts showing us that secrets don't just stay buried in Rosewood. Every lie has consequences, and A knows exactly how to use that against these girls. Right from the beginning, the girls are trying to continue with everyday life, but it's becoming obvious that it's impossible. They're constantly checking their phones, wondering when the next message is coming, and every little thing that happens make them question whether A is behind it. Let's start with Hannah, because she's one of the biggest storylines in this episode. Hannah's home life has become more complicated than ever. Ashley is desperately trying to keep their financial situation together, but it's taking a toll on both of them. Hannah wants to help, but she's still just a teenager trying to hold on to this perfect image at school, while everything is falling apart behind closed doors. One thing I love about Hannah is that she acts tough, but she's incredibly loyal. You can already tell she'd do anything for the people she loves. Then there's Spencer. Spencer throws herself into school and trying to be perfect because that's what she's always expected to do. Because no matter how hard she tries, her family always seems to compare her to Melissa. Watching these early episodes again, it really explains why Spencer is constantly trying to prove herself. Her family dynamic is honestly exhausting, and it feels like she's never allowed to make a mistake without everyone reminding her of it. Emily's relationship with Maya continues to grow, and it's honestly one of my favorite parts of these early episodes. Maya encourages Emily to be herself instead of worrying so much about everyone else's expectations. But Emily is scared. She doesn't fully understand her feelings yet, and she's terrified of what people will think if they find out. Shay Mitchell plays this internal struggle so well because you can see everything Emily is feeling without her even saying much. Alright, let's talk about Arya. She's still caught between her feelings with Ezra and knowing her relationship can never be normal. Every conversation between them is filled with tension because they both know the risks. At the same time, Arya is still protecting her father's secret and carrying that burden, and it's starting to make everything else in her life even harder. You start to feel sorry for her because she's being forced to deal with problems that no teenager should ever have to handle. Meanwhile, A is becoming even bolder. The texts are no longer just scary, they're strategic. A knows exactly what each girl is at her weakest and chooses those moments to strike. It's psychological more than anything else, and that's what makes this villain so terrifying. One thing I noticed during this rewatch is how isolated each of the girls still feels. Even though they're rebuilding their friendships, they each think that they still have to solve their own problems alone. If they had trusted each other completely from the beginning, I always wondered how much more they could have stopped before it got worse. I also love how the mystery keeps expanding. Every episode introduces another suspect character, another hidden secret, another reason to question everything we thought. My favorite scene in this episode has to be watching the girls slowly realize that they can depend on each other again. Allison may have brought them together originally, but losing her actually was what started rebuilding their friendship in the first place again. There are moments throughout this episode that become so much more meaningful once you've watched the entire series. The writers were consistently planting seeds that most of us completely missed the first time around. Well, overall, I'd give this episode, maybe a 9 out of 10 probably. It keeps building the suspense and developing each girl's personal story, and reminds us that Rosewood, nobody's secret stays hidden for long. Now I want to know what you think. If you were getting these texts from A, would you tell someone immediately, or would you keep it a secret like the girls did? Honestly, I don't know how they keep functioning with the constant fear.